she is going to help us better understand the foundation that we are a part of and that we will be raising money through and with for Match Day, which is October the 21st. And so she is, her official title is Director of Military Relations and Affiliate Liaison, but she is our point of contact for Match Day, and we're glad to have you with us. So welcome.
Well, thank you. Whatever you're comfortable, we're very relaxed.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, okay. I don't know, I'll probably start and I may sit eventually. So, well, again, I'm Christine, and I've been with the Greater Manhattan Community Foundation since 2022, March of 22. So I'll be celebrating, let's see, I guess, almost 4 years here in March. And it's kind of an interesting story on how I got there, but I'll start with, I grew up in Kansas City, in Olathe. Met my high school sweetheart there at the public library. So I'm very fond of public libraries. And we started dating, and I remember my background is in dental hygiene. So I was in hygiene school and he was in pharmacy school at KU. I thought we were going to get married, live in Lawrence, Kansas with a white picket fence, and, pharmacists, dental hygienists, have kids, all life is good. He went to Kansas City his last semester of pharmacy school and went to talk to the Army and said, please, I want to join the Army. I didn't know this. But he first went to the Air Force, and what his family had always been in the Army, and he decided that the Air Force was a little cleaner, I think. And so went to the Air Force, but his only caveat was he wanted to go to Germany. And they said, no, you have to stay in the States for at least a tour. And then so he went and knocked on the Army's door, and they said, oh no, we want you now. So we joined the Army. He came home and told me that we're joining the Army. I cried, but we went to Germany in 1988. We were 22 years old, and it was the best time of our life, and it's the best thing that ever happened to us. Fast forward 11 tours, and mostly, we were in Germany and we were in Hawaii. The rest of the time we were in the States. During the time, I worked some hygiene. It was kind of hard, but I also started volunteering a lot. And then we eventually ended up here in Kansas. We had 4 kids, and he became the chief of public health. He went to medical school, and then he became chief of public health at Fort Riley. And unfortunately, in 2015, he became ill and was medically retired. After 2 years of trying to figure out what was wrong, we found out that he had a very rare disease called multiple system atrophy, and he has later passed away in 2019. And so I decided I have my oldest and my youngest live in Manhattan, and my oldest has 4 of my grandchildren, and my other 2 grandchildren live in Maryland with my other son, and then I have a son that lives in Colorado, and then my daughter lives in Manhattan as well. And I decided, I'm going to stay in Manhattan. And again, through all these years I've been volunteering, I went and talked to Vern Henriks, which you all probably know, and just said, hey, I volunteer. How can I, put myself out there as a great volunteer? And he says, well, why don't you come work for me, and I will let you volunteer even more and get paid for it too. And so I started working with him, and it's probably been the best job besides being married and having kids. That's probably been the best job I've ever had. So anyway, that leads me to here. Whenever I first started working, we have GMCF we have 19 affiliates. Geary County is one of them, and they're one of the largest ones. And so I started working with Calvin Potberg, probably, when I started, right after I started. And so we started working together, and I've been helping with Match Day ever since. You all, I think you started, Geary County Community Foundation started their community foundation in 2018, I believe, maybe 2017. but your first match day was 2019. So 2019, you raised, and I'm not, honestly, I didn't look up how much the Optimist Club, because I'm not sure when you all became a fund holder. But in 2019, the Greater Geary Community Foundation raised over $98,000. That was your first match day, which was really great. You had 446 gifts with 26 nonprofits, and each donor gave approximately $571 for cents an average. 2020, which was the pandemic, you raised over $241,000 with 34 nonprofits and each person giving around $743. Last year Geary County raised over $443,000 with over 1,620 gifts with 57 nonprofits and each person giving over $807. So it's amazing how Greater Geary has grown. So, and I'm really proud to be part of it last year. Yes, Farrell.
Christine, I just did do the history of our
Okay,
for
great.
the foundation.
Yeah,
We started in 2021,
okay,
made our $1,000 initial investment. In 22 with match day, we made we got a total of $3,427.40. 23, we got $5,784.10.
mhm,
And 24, we got 2,300, but no, 8,606, well, wait, 2,350, which gives us a total of $8,663.
yeah.
So we went down a little bit last year.
Yeah, so we're gonna raise it up again this year. So, so every year I start working on Geary County Match Day around June or July. Calvin and I start getting things together, start updating the website. We send out participation agreements, which Farrell gets that, and I think Ron Johnson is also your point person, and they fill out that form to say that you want to participate. So this year, this year, the Geary County Community Foundation has up here $100,000 from the Bramlage Family Foundation. You have $30,000 from Central Charities. The Crosby family has $20,000, and the Hoover Koken, I believe, is $20,000 as well. So all of that money is matching money, along with the $100,000 that from the Patterson Family Foundation. And of that $100,000, 50% of it, $50,000 of it, the Geary County Community Foundation has to keep as a endowed fund, and the other 50,000 goes to what they'll give out as local match. So last year, Farrell, did you guys apply for a local match? Okay, so that is an opportunity where you can get another additional $3,000 to use for your organization for grants, for funding towards other opportunities. So look for that. I'll be sending that out. So that's another great way to, we were talking about your all your different organizations that you give to. That $3,000 will be really helpful for that. So
So Christine, that causes a question
mhm,
in that process.
yeah.
Well, when is there a designated time to apply for that grant?
Right. I will be sending out an email in April.
In April, so it comes after the match day, obviously.
Right.
And then that's going to be our next lead question is, how do we access, other than the grant, how do we access money from what's in our foundation?
So, well, so the you can apply for grants. Usually they've not really done, besides the local grant, they've never really done anything where you can just ask for money for a purpose. Although I don't know if it's just never been done yet. So if you're wanting a grant other than the local grant, I would just send in a proposal for whatever you're doing and just, ask for that grant.
And it seems to me that we did that even last year, and I was just very foggy on that. That right after match day, I thought we were given a guideline, if you do it within the first 2 weeks after match day is finished, that you can apply and get X $1,000 and take it out of your money that you got that match day. Right away.
Okay, so, going back to, we'll go back to match day and I'll get to that. I'll answer that question in
Okay.
just a minute. Okay, so I am gonna just pass out these so you all can read that. It's a little bit easier. So these are your, this is the,
Be careful.
thank you. I usually do. That would have been not very good. So these are your donation forms and I've printed off several to, no towards here. I've printed off several to give to you all that you can keep. And so at the top of it, you'll see your parameters. So from $25 to $1,000, you'll get a 50% match, and each organization will get up to $7,500 total in matching funds. So essentially, my math isn't so great. I know how to spend it, know how to raise it, don't know how to add it. It's very so. But I think that's really important. $7,500 in matching funds, so that you would have to raise $15,000 to get the whole amount. But that's still, I mean, that's quite a bit of money. And so whenever I sent out donor letter and donor forms to your organization, and then you send that out, and the donor form goes with it. I strongly suggest that you highlight your organization on here, because there are quite a few organizations. I think we're up to 80 now or something. I have to count here. But and then after match day, so whatever you raise on match day, so let's just $5,000, you raise $5,000, that will be in your account, accessible the day after match day. Then what happens is we still take in, if there's mail that comes in, that type of thing, for about 3 days after. So it's really important that whenever you're talking to your people, your members, that they send in their checks, money orders, whatever. Make sure that they get them in by the 24th of October. Unfortunately, you all know the mail is just so great these days. So we want to make sure that those donations get in. Not to say that once that money gets in, say it comes in the 25th or whatever, that money will still be in your account. It just won't go towards match day. So then Calvin will get all of those checks. They'll bring them into Greater Manhattan Community Foundation, and our finance team, which is Marla and bless you, which is Marla, Sally, and Derek, they will put all of these papers together, all the checks together, and they will do reconciliation. And that usually takes about 5 to 7 days. It kind of depends how many match days are happening, because we have, again, 2019 affiliates that are doing match days. They are never on the same day. So October 21st is Greater Geary Community Foundation's. All we do is think about Geary County on the 21st. And so we will reconcile all of those. It usually takes about 5 to 7 days. And then after that, your 50% match will be put into your account, and then you have access to it. So that's probably what they're talking about. This year, I don't think we've really sent out emails afterwards to say that's the process. So this year, I'm going to be doing that. One of my new roles at GMCF is actually I'll be the match day point person for all of our affiliates. And so that's one of the things I'm going to implement, is that follow-up letter after match day, because sometimes I feel like we say it, but it's always good to have it in print. So then after match day, you will probably within 2 weeks, you will have all the money that you have raised during match day. And
so that's accessible to the club anytime they need it.
Yes.
So then they just write to you and say, hey, we need $1,500, and you can cut them a check, and then they deposit in their account.
Right. So, yeah, so there's a grant distribution form on the page, and you will just fill that out. Are you guys a 501c3?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
so then you can just send a note and just say, hey, we want $1,500. Some of our organizations and some of yours or some of the organizations on this piece of paper are not 501c3s. And so what we are then is a fiscal sponsorship. Actually, Greater Geary Community Foundation is not a 501c3. So the Greater Manhattan Community Foundation is their 501c3. So whenever they want to take out money, they have to provide us a receipt or an invoice. So the other organizations in the community foundation, if they're not a 501c3, they have to, with their fund grant distribution form, they have to provide an invoice or a receipt that you all would know. So
is that grant form available online?
it is. So if you go to your, so there's two websites, the Greater Geary Community Foundation website, which is where you'll find the forms and publications. It's at the top, and then you can find that grant distribution form up there. Yeah, and then you have your Match Day site, which on that site you should have gotten an email from me about going on and updating it. So I was just telling Nita here, right now this is the information that's on your website that talks about what your organization does. On the Match Day site, you can update and you can say what you're raising money for this year. If it's not necessarily just, you don't have to put a general description. You can just put, we're raising money for scholarships, for, whatever you feel like you wanted, what you're raising money for this year.
And that's the Geary County or Geary Community
It's under
website?
Geary Match Day.
Geary Match.
Yep. And so with that, you go on there and you can update, attach it to social media, to your website, to anything that you want to connect it to. And then it also has all the information about what you're raising money for at Match Day. That's also the site that you will go to do online donations. And so whenever you push that out to your community that you are sharing your information with as far as Match Day, you want to push them to that website to make donations. So right now it says how many days until Match Day. 19 days. And so then whenever Match Day midnight, and I always wake up at midnight to make sure it's switched over, you can start making donations. And so then, just make sure.
So Christine, what I've been doing in the past, and I intend to do this year, is I wrote a series of directions with our
Yes.
letterhead.
Okay.
What to do.
Yep.
So I physically take that to them with the form.
Mm-hmm.
I've already filled out most all of that for them. All they have to do is sign with their email, etc.
Yeah.
And then I go back and pick it up. And then I bring all of those. It's usually, these go to our business sponsors that we have on the back of our
Right. Mm-hmm.
Promo.
Yeah.
And then I bring it all to Match Day on that day.
Right.
So mostly they're checks. You also accept cash.
Cash.
Okay,
Yep.
good.
We do money order. We do, if somebody they do a gift of grain where you can, I'm not real familiar with the grain part. I'm a city girl, so I don't really understand much about that. But some of the organization or some of your donors, if they want to donate part of their surplus from their fleet, they can do that. You can do, of course, from your donor advised funds or people who have donor advised funds, you can have those. We like to try to do those at least a week before because it's just the transfer of money. It just takes a little while, like from an Edward Jones account, that type of thing. So there's lots of ways of donating. So I think one of the things that on Match Day, you all have a table.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever Calvin, I wasn't here during the pandemic, but because of the pandemic, he made it so you had to go through the little maze, and they just kept doing it. And it's really a good opportunity to go through, not only to see your organization, but other organizations that are also raising money. But that will be held at the Junction City Community Center.
Municipal
Oh,
Auditorium.
yes, auditorium, right. And that's a great place. And this year, they're actually doing business during hours. So the chamber is partnering with Greater Geary Community Foundation, and they will be doing a business during hours over the lunch hour instead of after hours, because hopefully we'll be kind of wrapping up by 5:30 or so. But they'll be coming in and doing their business after hours activities during that time. So it'd be a great time to come out and just check it out, kind of hang out and have a cup of soda or, whatever. I don't know if they'll be serving beverages at that time. So I think the other thing too with Match Day, it's always, you're watching the numbers grow. And even though it's Match Day, you can still continue to, share your information and push it out. And we've got a great new marketing team. And they sent you some information about how to market your organization, but they also will be pushing out things on the Match Day site. So if you make sure you connect with the Match Day site with your organization's social media, that always helps too. So, but I think that's kind of all I have. One of the things that I do want to share with you. Well, do you have any questions about Match Day? Any more questions about Match Day?
Ardina, you okay?
So one question, so if they fill out the form and they need like $1,500 is what you got last year, right, Dr. Miller? How long does it take the organization to get their check from you guys then?
Well, it doesn't, you don't get a check.
Okay.
It gets put into the account.
Okay.
Yeah, and so like I said, it's whatever you make that day is available to you that day and on. It's available to you. The matching portion, so like last year, so if you make $2,000 in donations, the $1,000 will come probably within about.
Right. I just didn't know how the transfer was.
Yep, it just goes straight into the account at GMCF. And then if you want any of those funds, you just do a grant.
And then they're making interest on the money that's in the foundation?
Right.
What's your return right now?
I'm not really sure on that one.
Okay.
I'm sorry about that, but I know it's about I think it's right around 4%. So it kind of depends on what you have, what type of fund investment that you have, whenever you signed up. Now, I will say, speaking of that, on November 3rd, I'll be sending out a note, but I'll let you guys know. You'll be the first organization that knows this. But November 3rd, there'll be Vern's going to be coming to talk to Greater Geary Community Foundation and all of its fund holders to talk about the fee schedule. We will probably be raising fees just a little bit. It sounds scary. It's really not. Right now you pay 1% on a year on your amount. And what we do is we take out 1/12 of 1% each month on the amount that's in your account at that time. So it's not really, actually, we're probably one of the lowest fee schedules of many community foundations. And so we are probably going to raise that up, not by much. You probably not going to really notice a big difference. I've heard 1.25% would be the amount per year versus 1%. So there will be a meeting on November 3rd at 5:30 at the Opera House. And so with that fee schedule, he's going to talk about that. He's also going to talk a little bit about just the reviewing the fund investment strategy, the strategy on which whenever you become a fund holder, you choose these different types of investment opportunities. So it's either the lowest is the money market, well, not the lowest, but one of the opportunities of money market, and then it's just either how fast the growth is. So we're going to he'll talk about that, about the different types of investment strategies and how it would work better for different organizations. And then one of the other things that we'll talk about is just how the Greater Manhattan Community Foundation is going to improve our services to you. We've, like I said, we've brought on a couple of new marketing people, which has been great. We had McKenna for several years, and she's moved on to something else. And so we have two, a marketing, she is print and social media, that type of thing. And then we also have a videographer. And so those two people will be able to possibly help you create more marketing opportunities for your organization. So we're going to try to really drill down into each fund instead of just looking at the community foundation. We're going to really try to drill down and work with our fund holders as well. So that's all coming up. So he'll talk to you all about that November 3rd.
Christine, I thought I understood this process, and then I got confused along the way again.
Okay.
So let's imagine match day's over, 5 to 7 days has passed, reconciliation has happened. J.C. Breakfast Optimist Club says we want to get out of our account $1,500.
Right.
So I need to do the grant form request,
Correct.
submit that.
Mhm.
Let's say it's approved, then does the check for $1,500 come to the club?
Yes.
It does not go back into the account, it comes to the club. That would be ridiculous. You're taking it out of our account to send us a check so that we can use it for our mission.
Right.
Got it.
Right.
That's
Correct.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm back on board now.
Yeah. So match day will come. All those funds go into your match account. Every person that donates online, checks, all of that goes into your account. All of that money is accessible that day. The match money that comes with it will be deposited into your account 5 to 7, 10 days afterwards. So essentially, you'll have all of these different donations, and then you'll have one more donation, which is your match money. And then all of that money is accessible to you, and all you have to do is fill out a grant distribution, and then Marlo and Sally will write you a check, and it will come to you. And you can come by and pick up in the office if you want. I'm always back and forth to Junction City, and I can bring the check over however you want to do it. Just depends on.
Where's your office at?
Oh, our office, it's on Points Avenue. It's 555 Points Avenue. So if you're familiar with the old steel and pipe building, it's that. It's the building right next, just west of the chamber. So it's downtown.
What's the address?
555 Points Avenue
Oh, Points.
Yeah.
Manhattan.
in Manhattan.
Okay.
Yep. So
Now, are the fees picked one time a year, looking at your balance at one time point, or is it monthly?
it's monthly. So it's 1/12 of 1% taken off the amount that's in your account that month. So it might be a little bit less this month. It might be just a tad bit more this month, depending on how much is in your account. So we don't do it on one fixed income. We don't do it at the end of the year or anything like that. It's per month. So, yeah.
So I understand, how do you do so if somebody donates like grain, I find that interesting. So how do you market that? Do you sell that grain and then give whatever profit you make from it? Or?
I think that's how they do it.
Okay.
Yeah, I will say I'm not real familiar with the gift of grain.
Yeah,
If you go on the website,
yeah.
onto the Greater Geary Community Foundation,
Mhm.
and it'll say types of donations, I think is the tab.
Yeah.
It'll talk about that,
Okay.
and it'll tell you more about that. But
And
yeah,
gift same thing too. How do you do the gifts thing? So if somebody, you mean gifts like a cell phone, and somebody donates a cell phone?
no, we don't really do that.
Okay.
That we're kind of getting into a little bit of like real estate type things, so like a farmer wants to donate land, that type of thing. We don't do cars, we don't do things like that. Like I said, we're kind of getting into the real estate part of it. It's a little bit more concrete. But yeah, we don't do any, anything, where it has that type of value. We don't do that. So, but.
Christina has been very helpful. Thank you very much.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have some cards if anybody needs a card, but I'm at GMCF. You just go on there. I'm 109. There's a whole list. I'm kind of towards the bottom, but there's a whole list. I'm just extension 109. So be glad to help in any way.
Thank you, Christine. Before we close off, we do a 50/50